Well, what can be done with a small, unassuming cherry stamp set? Plenty of things. Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com, and today we're going to talk about 3 different projects using a small little cherry stamp from Pretty Pink Posh. Now I got these stamps and dies from Cobblestone Creek Studios, which is a really great little crafting store in Oregon. And Leslie is the owner. She is really great. I actually purchased quite a few things, and we're going to bring some more items in to this video. But first of all, I am starting with a blue piece of cardstock here, and I'm just adding some additional shading around the edges using some Distress Oxide inks. I've got Uncharted Mariner here, and now I'm going to take this layering stencil, also from Pretty Pink Posh. I'm just going to tape it to the back of my cardstock to make it nice and easy for me. And I'm going to take that same Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxide ink and ink that through the stencil for the first layer. So this is going to create some darker blue hearts on the background. It's really pretty when you start out with a blue background and add some darker blues. Look at that. There we go. And now I'll take the second layering stencil, and this time I'm going to add some Glitz Glimmer Gel. So this is the iridescent Glitz Glitter Gel, and it's so beautiful when you push it through a stencil. I'm going to be using this palette knife to just spread that through. And once I get this all spread out, I'm going to set this aside to dry. And this needs a little bit of time to dry, so I'm going to work on all the rest of the items while I have this set aside. So I also have this Hugs die that is a layering die. I cut the bottom layer out of a gold metallic and the top layer with a red glitter cardstock. And we'll put those together, and now I've just stamped one of the cherries. I chose the one that has the 2 leaves on top, and now I'm going to color this up using a couple different shades of gray. I've started with a darker gray, the G94, and now I'm going to go in with the G14 and blend that through, and I'll add a little bit more of the darker shade as well to give it some more drama. So then I'll pull out some of my red colors. These are some of my favorite reds for coloring cherries. I'm starting off with the darkest color, which is that R59. Then I'll go in and blend that through with the R46. And the last color will be the R08. I think this creates a really pretty cherry, and it's pretty fast to color as well. So I'm just testing out to see how I like that done. And I'm going to also leave a little white highlight in the upper right corner of each of these cherries. And the way I do that is I just leave a portion uncolored. Now, if you don't want to do this, or your coloring is too heavy-handed, you can always go in later with a white gel pen and add that highlight, but this just makes it a little bit easier and there's no fuss. So I'm going to put this together now. Our background has completely dried. It did not really take that long. And I've added those hugs together with the layers, and now I'll go ahead and glue that to our background. Now the background does have a little bit of texture to it because of that Glitz Glimmer Gel, or the glitter gel. And so I'm going to add an acrylic block to make sure that sticks down really well. Then I'll add this cherry to the top. And I've already white heat embossed a sentiment on some blue cardstock that says "You're the cherry" on top. I used the same color Distress Oxide to color this paper up so that it would match completely with our background hearts. And I'll add a little bit of foam tape on either side of the G and then glue it down directly to that G so that it's got that dimension. So that's our first project. It was super simple, very easy, but I found that these cherries are so easy to color. Now look at that glitter gel in the background. We've got the couple layers of hearts. I love this card. I love how it turned out. But I did find that coloring these cherries was really simple, so why not create an entire background with them? And I couldn't resist creating another purse. Now, if you watched my last video, I did create a whole bunch of these Valentine purses, and I'm still loving them. So I decided to stamp a bunch of cherries on the background. I've cut these out already using those purse dies that I showed you earlier. I'll link to that video too if I can remember to do that here. So I'm just stamping one of the cherries that has 2 leaves and one of the single cherries and creating sort of a background. Now I'm going to color these up the same way that I colored the last one up. And I found that coloring all the leaves first was the quickest way, and then going in and coloring all those cherries next was really, really fast. I don't think this took me more than, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes to color all of these because I already had the colors chosen. I already had my technique down. And so it was super, super fast. And here's the little flap that's going to go on the front of that purse. And you can see I'm doing the same exact technique, leaving a white highlight in the upper right corner. And I found that coloring around the edges and then creating that little highlight was the easiest way for me. And now I'll put this purse together and wait until you see how this turns out. I did cut a little red handle for it. I created a Velcro closure for this one also to keep that nice and secure. Just making sure that's in the right spot. And then I've got some of these chocolates from C's Candies, and I'm going to add that right there inside and add a little bit of tissue paper. And that's going to create the sweetest little Valentine gift. How cute is this cherry purse? Would you carry around a cherry purse? I would in real life. So here's 2 of our projects so far, but I have one more to share before this video is through, and that's using this Valentine add-on set from Pretty Pink Posh. Now this set goes with the winter mugs die set that she released earlier, and so luckily I got that set from Cobblestone Creek Studios while she was having her Christmas sale. You've got to watch for her sales because she has some really awesome sales. I also picked up some of this Pretty Pink Posh confetti, which I fell in love with. It's got some really cute additions in there. And so I'm going to start out this card by creating a wallpaper, cherry wallpaper. I thought it would be so fun. You know, growing up, my mom had fruit wallpaper in the kitchen. It wasn't all cherries. I don't remember all the fruit that was on there. If I can find a picture, I wish I could remember exactly, but it was green and maroon, and I'm sure that it was highly in style back then. But fruit wallpaper just kind of reminds me a little bit of my childhood. So I'm creating some cherries in vertical lines, and then I'm going to add a vertical line using my T-square ruler. And that's going to create our background for the cherry wallpaper. Now I am staggering the cherries every other line here, so just to create kind of a different effect. And I'm covering up a lot of it with my dies, so I didn't worry about covering the entire panel, but I do cover most of it. And then I embossed some paper with a wood embossing folder and inked around it using some vintage photo Distress Oxide ink. So here we go. This is going to be the beginning of our scene here. Now I've die cut all of these items from the add-on set from Pretty Pink Posh, and I'm going to just color them up using some Copic markers. Now this is kind of hard to see on video, so I'm not going to leave all of this in, but just wanted to show you that I did color them up using Copics, except the spoon. I ended up cutting that little spoon out of some metallic cardstock. But look how cute these are, all stacked up. I love how it creates a little dimension when you stack them up. I'm going to color around the edge of this one with some of the pinks so you don't see any of that white around the edge. And for the mug, I'm going to stack that up. I die cut the mug with 3 additional cardstock layers so that I can stack them up so it'll be a dimensional piece on our card front. And you can see that I've already kind of decided which elements I'm going to use here. This die set has quite a few more elements that you could choose, so you can build up your own scene exactly how you want it. There's also a cherry die in there, which I completely fell in love with. For the liquid inside, I cut some metallic pink cardstock. I was figuring it's kind of like strawberry milk in there. Have you ever had strawberry milk? I used to love that also growing up. So I had to create a pink liquid, and there's that metallic spoon. I'm going to add that in there. A little bit of pink whipped cream because, yeah, it's Valentine's Day. We need pink. And then that die cut cherry, I'm going to glue down to the spoon and to the whipped cream. And then I'll add all my other elements here. And you can see I've already stamped the sentiment, says you're the cherry on top. And I've used that stir stick as kind of the sentiment strip for this. I stamped it on the stir stick first in black ink, and then I added that red heart over the top and stamped it again so that I could get the last word on that little heart. I hope that makes sense. I did not catch that on video. And then I just glued the heart right on top. So it is a little dimensional too. Here I have some fun foam. I'm going to add that to the front with some score tape. That's so I don't get any wrinkles on the front of my panel if I use too much liquid adhesive. That's kind of how I like to use fun foam these days. And then I'll just glue it down to the card base with liquid adhesive because that seems to be the easiest for me. Now I'm going to add a few of these confetti pieces, just a few. I started getting a little carried away, but this is the Valentine's Day mix. It's got some little hearts in there, and I thought, oh, these are going to be so cute as little sprinkles on top of the whipped cream or on those chocolates. I ended up adding a few little white ones down to the chocolates and just one or two up on the whipped cream. And then I'll just glue those down using liquid adhesive as well. And that's going to finish off this card here. This was so fun to create. For that mug, you can see I used some foiled paper. So this was already decorative paper. That adds a little more interest as well. You can also make this into a shaker card if you wanted. There are elements to let you do that in that die set as well. So here's our projects today. I hope you enjoyed all of these projects using our cherries, creating a purse, creating some wallpaper, and a popped up element on our first hugs card there. I had such a good time. I'd love to hear your comments, and I'd also love to hear if you liked my new intro video. I was a little hesitant to use it because it's got my picture on there. But I'm starting to get braver this year, so let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Also, I'd love to hear which card is your favorite and if you have any childhood memories of fruit wallpaper. Thanks so much for stopping by, and thanks if you stayed till the very end. I really do appreciate you and your comments and your thumbs up. I'll have all the supplies linked below in the description for you to check out. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time with more card making inspiration. Until then, happy crafting. Bye-bye.